Hi, I'm Mark Lee. I'm the executive director or 원장 of Ivy Zen. I wanted to make a series of short videos on college app anxiety. This is specifically geared towards 11th graders, current 11th graders. So you probably have a lot of friends who are seniors and they just finished sending their early college apps, and you may have seen what they've been through over the last few months, and you see all the stuff they're going through, all the stress and anxiety, and now you're thinking about what about me next year. You basically have about 12 months from now to get everything ready and then do the application. So I'm pretty old, okay? But I still remember high school and I still remember all the stress that I went through. And it's still pretty clear and vivid in my mind. So I understand. I totally get it. And I want to give you some uh, advice, knowledge, perspective, and that will help you get through it really well, help you prepare, lessen the anxiety. So I'm going to talk specifically about what you need to do over the next 12 months. Okay, so you have, think of it as a 1 year roadmap, a plan. Okay. At Ivy Zen, for the most part, we try to work with students early on. So when they're in the 7th and 8th grade, we'll help them come up with a roadmap that will help them plan everything according to schedule in taking their time, right? So that they don't feel as stressed out when they get to 11th grade and 12th grade. Most of our students, when they start working on the applications, they kind of know what they need to write about because they've done everything and they've prepared everything in advance. Maybe you haven't had that. So if you didn't have a roadmap before, you're probably stressed out now. And if you are, not to worry, you can create a 1 year roadmap, stuff you're gonna have to do now. Obviously, there's not as much time, there's a sense of urgency to it. So yeah, you're gonna be a little more stressed out. But I'm gonna talk about things like teacher recommendations, your GPA. I'm gonna talk about some psychology stuff to help you deal with the anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety myself, and I have been dealing with it all my life. So I have some good tips and tricks and strategies. I talk about leadership, research, and then the college app itself. And I'm going to share some pretty big secrets, things that we normally don't talk about or share with the public at all, that will really help you out a lot. Especially with the college app, I'm gonna show you kind of the Ivy Zen way of doing it, and it should be pretty helpful. Now, so we have a resource. It's a PDF. It's called the Ivy League Application Checklist. Okay, if you send me an email, send us an email at mentors@ivyzen.net. We will send this PDF to you for free. It's really helpful. It's got everything you need to fulfill the application. I'll talk more about that in the last video when I talk specifically about the college app, okay? But just to let you know, like that we do have some free stuff for you. Okay. There's a lot of different things that you have to prepare, but I just want you to focus on 4 main things. These are the 4 main things that you need in order to have a complete college application for the top colleges, okay? Number 1, those will be your numbers. So that's the GPA, SAT, any standardized test. Number 2, is academic competitions. Number 3 is leadership, and number 4 is research. If you have those 4 areas covered by now, you really don't have much to worry about, okay? You've done a heck of a job. And if you don't have those four things, then yeah, you should be a little stressed out. But again, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So anyway, I just want you to focus on those four big buckets and think about all the different stuff that you've been doing and that you're going to do over the next 12 months and see how you can fill those buckets in, okay? Now, before I jump into that, I do want to talk a little bit about your teacher recommendations, okay? Teacher recommendations are critically important. In the UK admission system, so if you're applying to like Oxford or Cambridge or those schools, there's a preliminary application stage. And once you pass that, what you do is you actually go there and you interview with them. But you know, the processes vary, but it's basically like you meet some professors and they just grill you for 3 hours and they get a pretty good sense of who the good students are and who's going to make it. The American system doesn't have anything like that. And so obviously the essays and the application itself is very important, but what admissions officers rely a lot on are the recommendations. And they're critically important. I've seen students like on the edge and then a recommendation from some trusted source. In some cases, professors who are already teaching at that university tip the student over into the acceptance column, right? Recommendations are critically important, okay? You need to start working on them now, okay? Not in the springtime, not in the summertime, definitely not next fall, okay? Teachers they're overworked, underpaid, they've got too much stuff to do, and if you ask them too late, it's a problem if they say yes, because then they're probably going to write you a pretty crappy recommendation, okay? It's going to be rushed and they just won't know you very well, okay? So here's a reality check, okay? The reality check is this. Teachers are going to write good recommendations for students who they like. Obviously, you have to get a good grade in the class, but there are going to be a lot of students in each class that have good grades. They have to like you too, okay? If you're like top in that class, like the best grades in that class, and you aced all the quizzes, but you're always being annoying to that teacher, it's going to be tough. Who knows what they're going to write? You can't check the application. The recommendation when you send it. So what you have to think about, you have to be very strategic. So look at, if you're listening to this video, you probably have straight A's. You probably have good grades in all your classes. So then it's a question of which teachers like me the most, okay? Which teachers know about me the most, which teachers like me the most, okay? You should have a pretty good sense of that. Your parents should also too, from the parent-teacher conferences. So you want to think very strategically about who you're going to ask recommendations for. Now, in the past, we've always told our students to get one from a STEM teacher, Ikwa teacher, and one from a Munqua teacher. And that's not really the case anymore. Each school is a little bit different. But if you feel like your history teacher, you did a ton of projects and you've did NHD and you won awards and your teacher knows about all that stuff, you should definitely get it from her. And then you have an English teacher who helped you with some creative writing pieces that won big awards, then, that's the teacher you should go to, okay? And in that case, you'd be sending two Bunqua or humanities, social science recommendations, and that's fine, okay? The other required recommendations from the college counselor, okay? So for now, there's a couple of things. So I already talked about, being strategic about your choices. What you need to do now is curry favor, brown nose, and make sure that the teacher is going to like you. If you've identified your history teacher and your math teacher, you're going to get recs from them. You got to start putting on a charm offensive and start getting them to like you a lot and get to know you well, okay? Now, I know it's tough, but you have to think of yourself as a marketer, and you got to market yourself to these teachers, okay? Now, you don't go and you say, teacher, I'm a great student, right? That's not what I'm talking about. If you did well in the class and you did a little bit of extra, make sure the teacher knows about that. If you did something outside of school, an extracurricular academic competition, let's say you won, you got the best AMC score in your school, make sure your math teacher knows about that, okay? And don't just say, hey teacher, I got this. Say, hey teacher, thanks to you, thanks to all the years of, you know, teaching and all your guidance, all your advice, I won this award. And now the teacher has something to brag about, okay? And so, of course, they're gonna like that. So make sure you let your teacher know about your accomplishments, and make sure they know how much you've done. The second thing is, and I advise all my students to do this all the time as soon as you get into high school, always prepare 2 questions the night before for not necessarily all your classes, but certainly for the classes that you're going to get recommendations from. Prepare 2 questions, good questions. It takes a little bit of thought, a little bit of effort. It doesn't take that much time. It's like 5 minutes just to think about it, write it down, and be sure to ask questions. If you ask 2 questions every class, your teacher's gonna like you, right? It's a very, not necessarily easy, but it's a very simple way to do that. Now, when it comes to early next year, what you're going to do is prepare a resume and a cover letter that explains your strengths, why you like this subject so much, why you're so passionate about it, and you're going to give these to the teacher as you ask for the recommendation, okay? So don't just go and ask. Give them something to work off of, something that they can use, right? At Ivy Zen, we work with students on this stuff. We help them write the cover letter, we help them write the resume, we help them, you know, ask the right teachers, we give them advice and all of that, okay? So, yeah, right now is a time when you really need to be focusing on your teacher recommendations, okay? So I'll conclude this first video with that, and